And so you also do angel investing. What do you think about the current environment? And a lot of people are saying it's there's over-exuberance or something amongst investors.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It's interesting. I mean, I actually, when I was in your office 8 months ago, I was sort of just coming out of my hibernation. It was amazing to see the difference in the New York scene from even when I had left. I mean, it was good times when Ray Media sold, and it was nothing like it is today in New York. There just weren't as many startups, and maybe it was just starting to bubble up a little bit. And I don't want to say bubble up. I don't mean bubble up.
Be careful with that.
Yeah, I gotta watch that word. So it's been interesting as an observer to see just a totally different environment here. We have a lot of angel investments. Some are in the digital media space, some are elsewhere. As a pure investor, I think that things are expensive, and I think it's going to be a matter at this point of being able to pick winners. For investors, I think if you can pick winners, then you'll do fine. Doesn't really matter what it's sort of the Ron Conway. It's binary. Winners are winners and losers are losers. It does feel like a lot of things that it's not clear how they're going to win are getting funded at prices that maybe I as a rational investor wouldn't pay. But also, and I think that's particularly true in my mind in the seed rounds. I'm sure everyone would be interested to hear your take too, but it's it looks expensive from a seed perspective right now.
And what do you think in particular about the ad tech space, which is I think it's been for me personally, for example, one of my better areas of investment over the last few years. But now has, I think, gotten a lot of investment and might be, some people think, is overfunded.
Well, I think the problem with the ad tech space is, so I've always loved ad tech businesses. It's where I've been for the last 12 or 15 years. I think that the problem with the ad tech space is it's actually fairly easy to build a company, right? You don't have the sort of, I feel like in the consumer internet space, it's harder. I think you either get a winner or you're
I feel like ad tech is quick to revenue and hard to equity value.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's hard to build a strategic asset, and part of that has to do with the fragmentation in the space. So when I look across the landscape, I see ad networks. I see by lots of different names, but intermediaries. I see lots of intermediary businesses, and I see a lot of features being built. And I think that it's going to be really hard to earn venture returns on, especially with larger dollars, trying to pick the companies that are going to wind up building big valuation businesses. And so it's not that I don't like the companies in those spaces, just if I'm a venture investor, and even as a seed investor, I tend to stay away from companies that look expensive and it's not clear where the big market opportunity is. Yeah. There's obviously a big market out there, but it seems very fragmented, and you kind of have to bet on this business is going to pivot a bunch of times and turn into something really big.
But, the good news isn't these statistics like 8% of all brand advertising is spent online, yet the time that kids and people in general are spending online is much higher, and, and that's always the statistic cited. And so like it seems as if like Procter & Gamble is going to have to figure out a way to sell Crest to the next generation of kids, and those dollars are going to move online.
I think that feels like it should be true, but I think when you talk to the marketers, and this is one of the reasons why I think the approach needs to change as far as addressing that particular problem we call the gap, the spending gap, usage spending gap, right? I think that when you talk to CMOs, what they'll tell you is you're assuming that I have to allocate my ad dollars based on usage, and at some level I do have to allocate ad dollars based on usage, but that doesn't mean I have to go buy lots of display ads that I'm not convinced actually have a branding effect for me, because people are watching less TV. There are other ways to spend that money that aren't a direct correlation. And so I think what I see tons of digital media advertising businesses trying to solve these problems by building a better algorithm, a better targeting capability, a better optimization capability, and they're not really speaking the language of brand marketers who want to hear about more traditional metrics like purchase intent and brand awareness and things like that. And so until we actually, as an industry, start speaking the language of traditional brand marketers, it's a little bit of a pipe dream that they're going to just decide to move their TV budgets online.
But that also creates opportunities to invest in companies that help do that, like measure brand effectiveness and all sorts of things.
Clearly, I'm biased because that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. But yeah, that is I think that is a huge opportunity that a lot of people assume is just going to happen, and it's not just going to happen. There's going to be a lot of sweat involved in that.